PR Connections Radio presents PR Connections Radio presents
I guess you can be very successful without one, and probably some people do. But I would not have accomplished anywhere near what I have accomplished without a mentor. I have had a number of mentors, and my whole life has changed dramatically. I went from going nowhere to having a business that operates all over the world. If you want to win in a big way, you want to get a mentor. It's almost like getting a direct pipeline from their mind to your mind, where you're gaining all their wisdom, all their experience, and all the studying that they've done over a number of years. And like that, you get it all in a short period of time. Are mentors important? Well, I'm going to tell you, mentors literally changed the course of my life. Let's take a look at what thinking into results is and what it could do for you, how it came about. You see, my life had changed dramatically. I went from earning nothing to earning over $1 million a year. And I was sitting one day and I was thinking, how did all this happen? Do you know, I was reading Think and Grow Rich. I was studying Earl Nightingale's material. But a lot of people have read those books and studied Earl's material. And they weren't accomplishing what I was accomplishing. So I had to ask myself, what am I doing so different? You see, I had been raised to believe if you're going to earn a lot of money, you've got to be really smart. I was earning over $1 million a year, and I didn't think I was that bright. I was also raised to believe if you don't go to school, you can't win. Well, I hadn't gone to school. I went to high school for about 2 months. I didn't have a good job. I owned the entire company. If you want to be happy, healthy, and prosperous, it's all here. Thinking into results is going to show you how to get it. If what I've said really triggered something in your mind and you're thinking maybe, contact the certified PGI consultant. Hit the button, leave the information. Do yourself a favor. Sit down and talk to them about what this program can do for you. This very well could be the decision that will change the rest of your life.
Greetings. I'm Sid Maestri. I'm a certified consultant with Thinking in Results. And I'm so happy to have you here today. This is our second module. There's 12 in the Thinking in Results program. And today we're working with number 2, the knowing-doing gap. And what are we talking about? Well, you go through school and you're being taught and you're reading and you're taking tests. If you remember it, get a lot of answers right, you get recognized for it. But the world today doesn't care what you know. They only care what you do. That's where the rewards are. And the big issue out there is so many people are trained what to do, how to do it, and they don't do it. And we're going to talk about today why they don't. My guest today is John Gage. He's a student, been studying with me on Thinking in Results for over 7 years. He's a trained voice actor. And I'd like to bring my guest, John Gage, onto the screen here. John, how are you today?
I am fantastic. Yourself?
I look forward to this every week. So welcome to Thinking in Results, the knowing-doing gap.
That's right.
We're dealing with the mind here, and conscious and subconscious mind. You want to share a few thoughts?
Well, sometimes we feel like we don't have a mind, but that's untrue. No. The conscious mind is just what that is. You understand, you see everything coming in, you can recognize it for what it is. The subconscious mind really is what defines our actions. it's whatever our reality is, it seeks it out, and tries to make that happen because it only understands that. And we use in thinking into results, we use the stick figure, and because you got the conscious mind and you got the subconscious mind, and it's got this little stick body, and then you've got these little receptors, for physical touch, smell, sight, and so all these receptors, and they're antennae. Well, part of the reason they're antennae is because they're receptors. They bring in all this information to help create that reality for our subconscious. Because we talk about frequencies a lot on here, and thinking, becoming what you think about, all of that good stuff. And one of the ways that happens is going out and searching for this stuff and being beings of physical and a spiritual nature. We have these forms of communication, and I just thought of this. A lot of times, you'll be sitting here concentrating on something, and all of a sudden you're like, and then there's somebody behind you. Whatever happened to you, Sid? Come on.
Well, yes, but I don't talk about it, John.
But you turn around and there's somebody there, and it's usually a relative or somebody that's sitting there going, okay, anytime, and you're like, oh, there's somebody here, and you kind of know that, and that's because that frequency, and we've talked about this before, they're able to read the fact that our thoughts leave our head now. So when we're thinking something, and say I'm thinking about Sid, it's leaving my head and coming towards you because I'm thinking about you. And it's an interesting study. And the fact that they can measure that now, we have the equipment that's sensitive enough to sense what we're thinking, or that we're thinking something, and it's actually leaving our body. I think that's very interesting because it answers a lot of questions.
John, not to interrupt, but as you were talking there, because we hadn't quite phrased it the way I'm going to say it, but thoughts are things, and thoughts have energy that we were talking about. And because our thought energy, I must say, it's going out into the universe. And if you and I are together, maybe even right now, but if we're face to face and we're just thinking something, those are thoughts. And it's going, let's say, from our subconscious to your subconscious. And you don't feel it. That's happening. I don't feel it. But you'll get some new ideas, often related to what I was thinking about. Because and this may sound a little airy fairy, but we're dealing with the spiritual realm, and more of that understanding is coming into the workplace. And
right.
What I do with the thinking results is I do spiritual mentoring, spiritual warrior mentoring, where we're dealing with body, mind, and spirit. And our thinking results is a mind program. But taking action, you're dealing with the body, and I make an overlay that everything's happening within the spiritual realm, and that's something I help people wake up to. We kind of sidetracked for a moment here, but you were talking about the five senses are coming in to our conscious mind, and if we're not paying attention, they go right through to our subconscious and create new ideas. You want to say a few things about that?
Well, yeah, because we have control over what enters our subconscious, and what controls our paradigm. We just don't understand. It's kind of like you said, in school, we've been taught to regurgitate. Essentially, we haven't been taught how to apply what we want to accomplish into our lives. It's like, I know we were talking the other day about sales, because I've been in sales for many years, and I'm not going to say how many years because it's been a day or two. But I've been to many, many trainings that talk about, and you find this in weight loss too. If you do a thing, you're going to lose the weight. If you do this thing, it will work. Okay. And you'll get to your goal. So, and you usually do this in a group. And of course, we don't want to be the person that doesn't do the thing that needs to be done. So you do the thing and you accomplish your goal. And then after that, the group kind of disperses and you go back to being you, because your subconscious is like, oh, this is only temporary, because that's how you see it. You see it as temporary. When in reality, if you want it to be permanent, you have to see it as permanent. And you have to already acknowledge that you have it, even if you don't. And you have to do it with an emotional feeling, because that's what changes, because your subconscious is based on emotion, which causes action. I was just talking to my lovely wife the other day about purchases. Every time we purchase something like a cell phone, even if it's a logical purchase for what we're doing it for, there's still an emotional undertone in everything we do. And that comes from the subconscious, because I bought this phone when I was in Las Vegas for Uber, and it's a Note 20. So this is a really nice phone. I don't need all the functions on this phone anymore, but part of it is I wanted a really nice phone. So when I have it up there, everybody goes, oh, look at his nice phone. And that was part of the emotional purchase to it. Did I need a phone this elaborate to do that job? The answer is no. I could have done it with a phone that was much less, that had fewer features on it, and could have paid a little less for it.
John, it makes you feel good to have it.
It does. And that's an emotional thing. That's why when we teach, this is how you change your paradigm, you have to do it with emotion. That's why we say, I am so grateful that I weigh 275, even though I don't have a 40-inch waist. And yes, this is very specific, 72-inch chest, 10% body fat. Walk a mile per day, do a full body workout 3 days per week. I eat healthy foods, keeping my mind and body at a healthy peak performance. It's all with emotion. And as you read it, it starts picking up momentum, because it feels good, because you can feel it and you can see it as if it's already there.
John, you were talking about the emotions, and then you just use the word feeling. And the subconscious is where all the emotion is. And our conscious mind calls those emotions feelings.
Correct.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that, John, until I started studying the Thinking in Results program.
I didn't either, but we as human beings have to put a label on everything. I think that's one of the things we're really good at, labeling stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But we have to give it some kind of, so that we can pull the picture up. Yes, sir.
You said a couple things, and I want to say, brought up what I didn't know all my life till I started studying this, that we think in pictures, and thinking in pictures ties into seeing what you're going to look like, your goal down the road. And there's a phrase that we use: you can't achieve past what you can see. You can't rise up above. the level in which you're seeing yourself. And that's what part of our program is, learning to get real clear on your goals, particularly the ones that you've thought about and haven't gone for because you thought you couldn't do it.
Right.
And we'll show you how to change your mind and have the confidence to go after things that you had never done before.
You used a key word. You talk about me using keyword, but show you.
Oh, yes.
Again, I've been through all kinds of training as a salesperson, but they demonstrated how to do the thing, but they did not show you how to make that a part of who you are and be able to apply it to your life as a whole. They just showed you, if you do this, this is what will happen. Okay, great. How do I make that a habit? Well, you just keep doing it. Well, that's not true. I mean, some things that happens, but our subconscious takes the path of least resistance and will go back to old habits that it likes, and it'll pull us away from that path. I have to get up in the morning and spend an hour concentrating on what I want and focusing on it so that I have that picture all day long. Because having it as part of who you are doesn't mean you think about it all day long, but it's always there. You always have, you can bring it up at any time because it's there. It's what you truly want. I keep my affirmations in front of me all day long, and it makes it easy to go, oh, well, I guess I don't want that.
You made me think of something else, which you always do.
I try.
And I use the expression that when you know what you want and you have that burning desire, the universe will conspire to bring that to you.
Mm-hmm.
And oops, I'm just reaching for something. We talked about this yesterday, but I didn't know if I would share that. I got a little thing to called commitment that I'd like to share quickly here. Commitment. And I'm putting it in the first person. Until I'm committed, there's hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment I definitely commit myself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to me that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in my favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which I never dreamed would come my way. Whatever I can do or dream I can, I begin it. My boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. And that's W.H. Murray, Scottish Himalayan Expedition, going back into the 1890s.
Right.
And so I've had this for quite a long time. We're talking 20, 30 years. I'd come across this and I've kept it handy and shared it. And only yesterday, I have to say, with John, I didn't quite understand where it said the ignorance of which kills countless ideas. And then I realized if you don't believe when you make a commitment and know what you want, the universe will conspire to help you. Things will show up and that you never thought were going to happen. But you had to start the journey going after that big goal, not really knowing how you're going to do it. You might have one idea of the first step, which I say is the first thing is writing it down. But roadblocks, quote, will come up. But those are just opportunities to learn, let's say, another way of doing it. Real quick, like
that attracting what we think about, and that's what you just said. You ever notice in the morning, say you get up and you stub your toe. Oh man, it's going to make my whole day. It's going to ruin my whole day. What does it do? It ruins your whole day. Why is that? But I've gotten up and I've stubbed my toe and went, well, at least I got that out of the way, and I'll move on to something more positive, and I don't have a bad day. But I've also done the opposite. When we put out that vibration from our skull, when we're thinking about this, remember, what we're thinking about is energy, and it's leaving our body. Well, if we're thinking about it, doesn't it make sense if it's leaving our body that it may be going out to seek something to bring it back? So we have a bad day, or we have a bad event in the morning, because we're not going to go without having bad events. You can still be positive about it, but you end up ruining your day. You end up doing it. Well, this person come in and they did this. Yeah, but would they have done that if you hadn't have put that energy out? So it's always funny because I've met people, man, every time I think about having a bad day, I end up having a bad day. Well, stop thinking about having a bad day. Start thinking about the positive. I think we talked about the one insurance gentleman from the early 70s that anytime somebody brought him anything, he would say that's good. Even if it was, this guy got in a car wreck and lost his arm. Well, that's good. And then he would find what was good in it. Because there's
John,
always something good.
This is an example. John just demonstrated. He's in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm in Las Vegas. And before he spoke, I'm sitting there. W. Clement Stone was someone that created one of the biggest insurance companies in the United States, and also started a success magazine leading the things that we're talking about. And he always said, that's good. Now, of course, I learned that a few years back. I didn't understand what that meant until I started working with the Thinking in Results program. And the understanding that every, quote, setback is an opportunity to learn another way to do it, another perspective. Because if we don't learn and we try it again, the old adage is, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you're only going to get the same results. And they call that, and you want different results. So they call that insanity.
Well, go ahead.
There's something else that I think we should jump into, and that is the paradigm, which is in the subconscious. And I know that you're enamored with the paradigm.
Well, it's the only way we're going to change our lives is to change the paradigm. And it you become what you think about. You can if you think you can. I mean, and I know it's not something, because that's taught out of us, because when we're children, we're dragons, we're knights in shining armor, we're cowboys fighting the Indians, and we believe this when we're children. But when you get into school, they teach it out of you. They kind of just say, well, no, this is what we define as intelligence. And that's not necessarily the case. Most people that succeed were horrible in school, but they kept their imagination, they kept their mind working. And I really believe, and this took me a while to get to, because I used to think, well, I know the goal, it's there. Well, that's not good enough. Just knowing that you have the goal isn't going to get you the goal. That's just wishful thinking. Because you will come up with, and I've seen this, since I've started doing this, I've seen this happen a lot. People like, oh, I don't need to write it down. The goal will happen. Well, yeah, but this happened and it got in the way. And now I'm like, okay, well, this happened, so I'm changing my plan. So it's a totally different thought process. But I kind of lost my train of thought. I had something in mind. I kind of lost the whole thing. But the facts are, we have to learn to readjust and to take responsibility for where we're going. We can't. That's where I was getting. I got really sick, and if it wasn't for this program, I could have very easily given up and not been here and just let it take my life or let it ruin my life completely, because it was not pleasant. It wasn't something I did. It wasn't something I caused. I was part of it, but a lot of it wasn't anything that I did physically. Mentally, that's a different story. I had to take responsibility for handling what happened to me and making it positive, because it doesn't matter what happens to you. It doesn't matter. Wise men, you find a wise man, you find a wise woman, you're going to find somebody that had a lot of garbage happen to them and they overcame it. And that is how you change your paradigm. You overcome, you change course, and you don't let the negative get involved in where you're going. You leave it back there and you move past it.
I like to use the expression, people have a comfort zone. We talk about the paradigm being a collection of habitual habits.
Correct.
And some support us and some don't. And people are powerless to make that change. And that's what we show people how to do.
You're right.
How to create new habits to reach their success.
And they don't understand it.
Yes, exactly. I was going to mention the Thomas Edison example real quick. Like Thomas Edison, who invented the incandescent light bulb, had 10,000 plus failures. And someone asked him once, wasn't he discouraged with the failures? And he said, I didn't fail. I found 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb, because that was his goal. And we're all grateful for that. I have it right now.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my time here. We got a couple minutes. I wanted to let people know that you can get in touch with me at Sid Maestri, thinkingresults.com. You see it down on the bottom. We're doing some work on my website, but the tabs at the top will give you more information about Thinking in Results and Bob Proctor and Sandy Gallagher that created the program. And you can also contact me, and you can send a question, or you can say, I'd like to chat, and give me your information, and we'll set up a time that a little one-on-one discovery to see if you have something that you want some help with. And the whole thing, the whole story in life is your goals. And if you don't have goals, you just are, I must say, like treading water or going down the wrong direction. So I think that's about it today. We've got all of our podcasts have been archived, and I don't have the address right now, but I'll give it to the next time. I'll have that information available. I'd love to hear from you. And John, I want to thank you again for sharing your experiences and your thoughts from working the Thinking Results program. And we'll see you next week. And we're going to look at the infinite mind. You're going to love it.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.